Check. Best not to eat. Don't eat. Don't eat. Don't eat egg, will become sad. Don't eat egg. They give you egg. Yeah, they want to try see how mindful you are. Pull them, please. Ask them why. Can you? Check. What is it? You can speak English. Don't be naughty. Speak to me in English, Yuvita. You're a very old friend of mine. Say in English. What is it? Yeah. It's through Bluetooth. With the Bluetooth. Just look for the Bluetooth, huh? Bluetooth. Bluetooth. Look for the Logitech Bluetooth. Connect. It's through Bluetooth. Yes. Very good. Very good source of protein. Very good protein. Very good protein. Ooh, cold. So cancel. No, cannot cancel. Only tomorrow morning cancel. Okay? Sojourn cancel tomorrow morning. Nikki, answer please. It's just go to the Bluetooth. Look for Logitech. Connect it through Bluetooth. Does it work? Just manually.
Cannot connect.
It's okay. I also add egg, so we are equals. So the makan egg, you also eat makan egg, so it's all same. Okay? Happy now? Then don't complain. It's all right. Yes, you can eat egg since you already had it. And I had it too.
Rimpoche.
Does it work? Okay, about the egg we talk later. Okay, so let's. Yes, you can eat egg. Eat more. Tomorrow morning have some more. Okay. What is that?
Okay, so this lady asked if Sojong can we eat egg or not, because I think our consumption we provide egg. Yeah, and then the lady also asked if she has already eaten the egg, does it mean that the Sojong is cancelled?
No. You never took us in the 8 precept. I do not eat egg. Never, right? Right.
Oh ya. Terus kalau saya mau sojong sendiri di rumah bisa kan? Saya kan saya mau sojong sendiri kan di rumah saya nggak ada biksu, nggak ada. Saya ambil sojong sendiri bisa kan?
She is asking if she would like to take the Sojong by herself at her home. Can she do it?
Oh yes, very much. Very much. Yes, that actually we encourage that. Yes, very good. Very good. Please go ahead. This month, entire month, take Sojong, okay? Because it's very sacred, very important month, right?
manual lah, which is not.
Maybe you want to give the laptop to me. Does it work from here? It's easier because the flow will be better. Yeah, it can come here, right?
Can.
Actually, I can come that side. Oh, is the camera active? Is this camera active? Is the camera active?
Which camera?
Otherwise, I can move it at the side if you need the
Active
camera.
lah. We are doing live.
Oh. Check. Sorry, off the aircon, please. Check. It's good. We can cancel it. You want to cancel? Should we cancel it? Have. But the Amitabha will be very upset. And the host don't have the budget to offer dinner. That's a trick. Check. All right, good evening, everyone. Can you raise your hand if those who can converse in English? Good. So it's not a Dharma talk, it's just a conversations, I thought, but I see few new faces, those who are not taking Ed Precept, right? So we do not eat dinner and got nothing much to do since no dinner, right? So I thought make good use of time, right? So it's a basic, very light, casual conversations, okay? Do you agree with this? How many of you think the same way? being a kind human being is not enough. How many of you think? How many of you think being just kind human being is enough? No other things, just be kind. And there are many now, right? There are many kind people. Do you think it's just enough? Is it enough? Let's do a light debate. I say it is important to be kind. Spiritually, religiously, we all learning to be kind. Religion teaches us to be kind. Right? And there are some people who are already kind. So is this just enough then? Am I beyond, because I'm already kind, right? What do you say? You're right. Anyone? We get this lot of questions, right? Why? Especially when the difficult things happens, right? Like, why it's happening, right? Such, for example, do you have these questions when it happens to such kind people? Right? He was such a nice person. She was a really, really kind person. But this is what happened to that person. Many believers, even religion people, switch their religion because they find it very unfair. And it's called a religion crisis. I was with A, suddenly these things happened to my mother, my son, my husband, wife. I was really, really dedicated, devoted. This is unfair. Then they switch around. Still there's a lot of unfairness happens. Right? And there are people who are very kind and they also experience some misfortune. So, if the belief is to be kind, why, right? Why such things happened? How do you actually bring to a closure to this? When you maybe few of you in the same boat, maybe you have met some people who are very kind. Misfortune happened. You don't know how to console them. You don't know how to respond to it. Even you get very confused and nervous. Like, why this is so unfair? Did it happen? Any experience like that? So what is it? How do you come to a conclusions or the acceptance? We call it self-talking, right? How do you say like, maybe because of this? Or you get look up, like, why? What do you think? It's a conversation, so what do you all think? I tell you, during tsunami, I was in Jakarta. No, I was in Singapore. Yes, we got badly hit, right? In Indonesia. Mostly religious people came to me saying, why this is so unfair? There are many ignorant, innocent children, people. Some of them are very devoted religious followers. Died. What is happening? Says, how do you respond to it? What do you advise? They said. I tried to search answer from all of these things. There's no answer, right? And they also trying to, none of this resonate. None of them explains. None of this question marks is like helpful. So what do you think? Kind people do not believe in karma because they don't believe in any religion too. This is why the topic is being a kind human being. You know, I do not believe in A, B, C, D, just my religion is being kind. Very kind. Right? So if you believe in karma, you are not just being kind. Yes, you just don't even believe only in kindness. There is something related to it, right? Right? And how many billions of citizens in this world, the populations, and the believers of karma is a very, very, very small margin. Do we need to believe in karma for it to work? No, it's a reactions. It's the natural things that is responding to what's happening to us. Either you believe or not, it will continue, you know. I mean, if you're talking about karma, right? So, yes, please. What is it?
I think unfortunate things or fortunate things can be seen depend on how we look, because unfortunate things can be fortunate if we so it's not like kind or unkind, it's just like things happen that we need to have different perspective on how to see it, so we can get insight from it, something like that.
Yeah, so if you talk about the fortunate and unfortunate event, yes, that can be a compliment, that can be a lesson, that can be something positive, even unfortunate things. But what we are saying is, when kind people being kind, there are many people who stop even being kind after that, because right, being kind, a lot of things happens to them. So after that, they stop being kind. They they're just totally shattered. They feel things are very unfair. And that's why I said I get this many questions from people. Why this is happening to them? And another question there says, some people are not nice, but they do so well. Why? Some people are too kind, but why? And we're stuck. Even kind people get stuck. That this is unfair. I was a very kind person. Why? Is it being kind is not enough? Right? Then they start questioning. What is it happening? Right? So, what do you think? Yes, please.
If being kind guarantee us not die if we have a car accident, it's the same logic, right? So let's say I'm being kind doesn't mean that I won't die if I have a car accident, yeah, something like that. So it's something naturally, yeah. So I mean this is same say if they do good things, being kind, they want to have a guarantee 100%. They won't have any bad things happen.
Understand? I do agree. But unfortunately, we, even when something happens to the kind people, we question our kindness too, right? What is the point of being kind? Look at these people, right? For example, yeah, people have a very different respond to in events in our life. Something similar to this. I remember during coronavirus, during quarantine, there were people came to me says, none of things matters now. I want to make my life more meaningful. Wow, this taught me a lesson. Life is so meaningless. After COVID, quarantine, 2 weeks of doing nothing, and people really wanted to change. And there are people who came and says, wow, I wanted to do everything now. I just trying to be so mindful. There's no point of being careful, kind. If your life is like this, I want you to do everything. They said, I'll do all the crazy things now because you don't know if you can get this chance again. Two different outcome from the same experience. I was like, wow. Right? So there are very few people who will accept misfortune if they are kind people, including the loved one, the family members. Otherwise, there will be a lot of denial, a lot of rejections among the family member when something happens to one of the family member. For say, my son was a very kind man. Why it happened to him? Everyone will be questioning, why? My daughter was a really nice daughter. She doesn't deserve this, right? And there are many kind people that even take their own life. They were shocked. They said, this is unfair. After that, the kindness become poisonous. They were like, no, this is so unfair. First thing, if you are religious, most people will, go against their own belief. Generally, if they are kind, without much of things, they find no reasons, they get so angry. There's no answer to it. But mostly the devoted, okay, so, right. How does it even sustain? Let's go all the questions first. Sometimes now nothing unfortunate happened, you are very kind. I remember there was a very kind woman in Bhutan. She was into life liberations, She sold her own home. She was in the huge debt because of depression and stress. Eventually she actually expired. She died. And she was into animal liberations, taking loan and letting animal, how sustainable is that? There are many of, right, people, because of kindness, you lose everything and you are not happy losing it. There's too many angers inside. Yet your kindness still let you do that, right? And another word, people taking advantage of it. Or even doing this to people is not sustainable, right? For example, then that's why we get burnout too, right? After that, they stop being kind, totally don't want to do anything. There's a lot of self-questioning. Am I doing the right thing? It's quite embarrassing. I'll tell you the same thing. Even for me, there are things that I question myself. Am I doing the right thing? End of the day, when I'm really tired, I was like, what am I doing? And then the burnout. And because of my nature of my work, we were into service. What's happening? Even with such a spiritual element, subconsciously, sometimes you question yourself because you get burnt out. And the things that your kindness are not sustainable sometimes, right? So, this is also Chinese proverb too, right? We say in Asia, it's good to teach them how to fish than feeding them a fish, right? Is being kind sustainable? So sometimes we are very kind unconditionally. We don't have much of the strength to use our kindness properly. And we started feeding fish to everyone. You know, you even don't have enough yourself. But I'm not saying don't be kind again. Kindness is the key. So this is a very confusing part. Many young people, you will just come to me and says, "Oh, I have no religion. Kindness is my religion." And they will say the same thing. My husband is very kind. My wife is very kind. My son is very kind. My daughter is very kind. They do not follow what we follow. They do not do what we do. They are just kind human being. Rimpoche is okay, right? As long as they are kind. I say, you're right. Yes, it's as long as they are kind, it's okay. But that kindness comes with huge risk of burning out, risk of like this kind of potential risk. Do you agree? I know. So this is why I was saying that being kind is just not really enough. So when say it's not enough, meaning you need to be more than being kind. Do you agree? But kindness is the foundation. The basic foundation of humanity is the kindness. If you don't even have the kindness, then you have no meaning. You are social animal, they call it. You just know how to civilize, right? You are not functioning. The great quality of the human being is kindness, as Gautama Buddha said. The highest potential in the humanity is the kindness. Kindness is very important. Even the highest spiritual beings need the kindness. If you look at it, all the religion figure, right? They did what they did because of kindness, because they care. Because they were unconditional kindness. But they did not become the victim, right? Their act of kindness lasted longer. It was sustainable. Even after 1,000 years, it's sustaining, right? So, most of us, we will become the victim of our own kindness, right? We are shattered. So, what should we do? What is your take? I remember there are few beautiful things, right? It was in, I think, from Muhammad, right? Be kind, or have love, isn't it? Love, and there's a love. When there's a love, it beautifies everything, or something like that, right? You know. So love is kindness, right? And it was in the Bible. If you have the love, you have the what's that? Power to move the mountain. If you have no love, you have nothing, right? So love and kindness is very important in many religions as well. But how? How do we sustain with this love and kindness?
If kindness with wisdom is a conditional kindness.
Conditional kindness. But most individual who complains about kindness is not conditional kindness. It's a simple, straight love and kindness.
No.
Then they become the victim, right?
Just now on the slide, it says that kindness with wisdom. Is it? Does it mean that there is conditional kindness?
Conditional with wisdom. Wisdom with conditional. It's not conditioning. Actually, it's ultimate kindness. If you have wisdom, then that will be the absolute kindness, right? So, but in the ordinary exercise, we don't have that kindness. Our kindness is a straight kindness, right? Sorry, what is it?
Menurut pengalaman saya kena tipu malahan baik Rimpoche. Saya kenalan dengan seorang cowok itu pura-pura sakit, terus dia bilangin dia nggak ada duit kayak gitu loh, untuk berobat, untuk bayar hari itu jam 7 malam katanya di rumah sakit, terus dia pinjam duit ke saya. Kemudian setelah saya kasih dia uang ke dia menghilang, cowok itu. Dari situ saya mendapatkan insight. Menurut saya kebaikan itu tidak cukup Rimpoche. Harus ada pengetahuan, wisdom, dan berpikir dulu sebelum bertindak. Jangan diburu oleh rasa kasihan. Rasa kasihan dengan rasa itu beda Rimpoche.
Okay. So, Jurita is saying that she got scammed because she was being kind. So she met a guy, and then the guy told her that he was sick and then needed a treatment. She sent him money, and then he just vanished. So according to Jurita, that being kind is not enough. We need wisdom, and being kind is different with having a pity.
We need wisdom experience. We need wisdom for knowledge and knowledge. Pengetahuan, kita butuh pengetahuan, kebijaksanaan, pengetahuan yang luas, misalnya luas. Baru setelah itu kita harus berpikir menolong orang ini atau tidak. Gitu. Tidak bisa kita menggunakan emosi, kasihan ya, langsung tolong. Akhirnya seperti saya tadi ditipu cowok itu ternyata bukan sakit tapi dia bohongin aku. Jadi hilanglah uangnya itu. Ya.
Yes. This is it.
So Jurita was saying that.
Emosi kasihan dan
Jurita, it's my time to share, huh? Not yours. Just kidding. Then yes.
Jadi emosi kasihan dan realisasi itu beda menurut saya.
Udah, Cik.
Yeah.
So Jurita was saying that in order to help others, we need to have knowledge, wisdom, and have to know the difference between having a pity for others and being kind, right?
Emosi kasihan dan realisasi itu beda.
Compassion, having compassion and having a pity for others is different.
Very good. Can you leave the room now, because you already know how to use more. You already have stolen my talk. Right? Excellent. So you're right. As Pachandara was saying, as Jurita was saying, just being kind alone, I think we all agree, right? We all agree just being kind alone is not enough. But my struggle here is for the people who are very one-sided and just stuck at kindness and don't want to think out of kindness. And my concern is there's nothing wrong with it. Be kind, which is very important, but you may get in trouble You will get all these things that I put questions, right? You may get burnout. You may become stubborn. You switch right away. You become really mean because it's a trauma. Don't want to be kind. You become very defensive. You become very unhappy person. Sometimes you become the victim, like Joita was saying. So being kind has both extreme danger of being right away you become like a very defensive, unkind, hates everyone, don't trust anybody because you are kind, and being kind was very dangerous, right? Or you will be completely shattered, and so it's very important, right? And some of us who just believe in kindness also do not believe in anything, as the gentleman here was saying, the karma. Don't believe in karma. People who just believe in kindness will not believe in karma. It's just being kind is my religion, right? And it's very difficult to regulate their emotions or their. So right now I think we are talking about the risk of being kind, right? Risk of being kind. If someone is very kind, don't want you to think out of the kindness. They are very high risk of getting burnout, getting into all this trouble. And especially if even they do not believe in life after death. Because it's all about this life. Just be kind. Who cares? I do not know. Right? So this is where the main struggle comes in. So there are, as Pachandara was saying, there are conditional kinds. Many religion followers are conditioned by fear. I have to be kind, otherwise I'll be punished. I'll go to hell. I'll have bad karma. I have to be kind. By nature, you are not kind, but you're forced to be kind because you fear so much. Do you agree? No. And that kind of kindness is also danger. When things happen, says like, in name of what I believe, I was so kind, and still it happens. It happens even when I am alive. I cannot imagine after death. I believe so much, but what will happen to me? I borrow the word, that become conditioning. It's also very, very. I personally, in the even name of Dharma, when people put too much effort, I get uncomfortable because I really wanted to. In other words, I'm not very sure how much of your dedication and kindness are unconditional. I always say we are profit orientated, not monetarily. Is a profit, right? Always looking for some gain, if not consciously, but subconsciously, thinking something in return. So what happened is when you do in the name of belief or whatever, even this is why you are complaining when you are being too kind, something happened, because there was profit calculated. I'm a kind person, that cannot happen to me. Be kind, it's okay. Then things happened. Then you freak out. Because we humans, Buddha had mentioned this beautifully. We have 3 categories of species, human, we call it 3 different worlds. I don't know if you have heard of that. 3 different worlds. Form, formless, and then the desire world. We, the human world, is called desire world. We are built with desires. That's why the name, what is the name of this universal, the universe we live? In the Dharma we call it desire world. We call Dakamba, the continent of desire. And that desire doesn't matter either positive or negative, is a profit. We are looking for benefits. Without gaining something, we cannot function. You know, think about it. Everything we do, for example, few of you here tonight, oh, it's a Dharma talk. There was a gain calculated. Oh, okay, what's happening? Looking forward to always. And of course, life is too boring if there's not looking forward to. That's why in the Dharma says, in heaven it's quite boring because like everything is there, there's nothing to look forward to. And such as form and formless world, it says, numbness, nothing to look forward to. And that makes our human world more exciting because always looking forward to. Right? Looking forward, desire. So desire world, right? And meaning even being kind subconsciously. Again, it's conditioned. Somehow you expect things to be perfect. You expect things to be normal with us, right? So these are just the so-called self-contemplations. You know, how one can help ourselves. And if you have friends like that, people like this, you know, when the unfortunate things happens, how do you look at them? Or you too become the victim, like, yeah, you're right. You know, there's no point of being kind. This is so unfair. I'm with you. I feel you. Right? So,
Excuse me. I think this is it's quite complex things anyway, praying, you know. It's not one-to-one things. It's family matters, for examples, between parents who have the children, husband and wife, in the companies, whatever it is, anyway. So, right? Is it something to do with the ego or things? Meaning that you feel that you've done enough, being very kind. The level of it, the definition of it, anyway.
being there will be, as I mentioned again, it will be never be enough because we are built with desire, right? From both givers and takers, right? So it's like it will be never be enough. So that's why sometimes I get burn out. Right? It's a new term, right? You get burn out even in a family relationship. That's why they fall apart. The relationship fall apart. That's why there are children who kill their own parents, right? That's why like a lot of things, crazy things happens because get burn out. No, be emotionally kind, physically, materially, doesn't matter. People get burn out, and there's no strength. There's nothing to sustain that. In other words, there's no tolerance, right? There's no tolerance, right? Indeed, it's very complex. This is why I'm saying, even very devoted religion. We have many Buddhists, you know, for example, in our faith, who leave the practice of Buddhism because this is very unfair. I was abused. I was taken for granted. I was expecting everything will be perfect. After supporting, serving, doing charity, all these things, bad things happen too, you know. So, and it's not from very recent. I'll share this story. You can find on internet too. Padmasambhava, right? He was, of course, the great master. In 8th century, king of Tibet invited him and built temple. He was the one who brought teaching of Buddha from India. Hundreds of panditas, scholars from India came to Tibet. I mean, it was during his time established Buddha Dharma. Built too many temples. Please reconfirm the age. 13 or 8 years old, his daughter, the princess, died. He was so disappointed. Padmasambhava was considered as a Buddha. And I have been serving Buddha Dharma. I have the real Buddha with me. But my innocent teenager's daughter died. And he was so upset. And questioning Padmasambhava about his faith, about his karma, his dedications. Did not even spare his daughter. Have you heard of that story? Search on internet. I'm going to stop it here. How did Padmasambhava, because you all educated, right? How did Padmasambhava actually, educated, help the king to overcome that? It's a beautiful story. It's a true story in the 8th century. Right? It was a very kind, compassionate king. Very devoted. Can you imagine beautiful teenager's daughter? Just dying in front of you. Right? So, as Pachandar was saying, it's very complex. There are many times even a very advanced master could lose their patience because of kindness. One of our dear teacher had a leg cancer. He had to amputate. And he asked our guru, is Dharma really true? Because I was a very kind teacher, serving your monastery. End of my life, I have to amputate. And the guru looked at him and says, I expected better than this from you. And sometimes it's easier when it's happening with someone else. We could advise, oh, it's a karma, life is not perfect. But when it happens to you, it shatters, Even learned, highly learned, great teacher started questioning, how unfair. Now, I don't want to relate to the karma, nothing, you will lose it. You will lose it. It's a true story, eh? It's a true story. When his guru went to see him, only person that he can express this is to his guru. Says, is Dharma really true? If it's true, things should be perfect. I'm a teacher. I'm one of the senior teacher. This has happened to me.
If someone happened to so deep. Hello. Okay. If someone happened to be so disappointed with life and become the unkind person, how to revert back to be kind?
It'll be tough, my friend.
Yeah.
It'll be tough. This is why. It'll be tough. This is why prevention is best. This is why I thought I wanted to share. But again, as I said, it'll be difficult. It will be difficult, because you are really hurt.
Yeah.
You're really hurt. You have no more. You have no more trust. You have no more confidence in that. And it's called psychological trauma. It will be difficult for you to come out of that. It's lot of questionings, and so that's why the prevention. All right. So let's share that. This is what does this one tells you about? The little Buddha is looking at us, being kind, really?
Sorry, Rimpoche.
Yes, please.
Yes, it's really true. To be kind blindly is very dangerous. As Rinpoche say, a lot of our kindness because of our habit, not really. But in the other side, also as Rinpoche said, although the practitioner itself, when it comes to the very difficult way, still, what they say, the upset come out, right? So my question is, because we are, as Rinpoche said, we are in a desire world. So that means there is like the energy or what push us. We understand, we all the ignorant people that's interconnected and become very, what they call, interdependent. So it's very complex. And how about when in the, nirvana, not nirvana, like the other realm with the form and formless. That's they have the 5 sense, the same as
some in the formless there's no senses, so that's why when you go into some of meditations, go into deeper, that numbness kind of meditations, like emptying yourself, you go into that kind of resulting into formless. So like it's like having a good deep sleep, you get another simple word, you get hibernate for a long period of time, but the seeds are still there, you can rebirth again to different realm, but in that period of time you will stay longer, right? So this is more philosophical word, I think, but this is what it is. So I'm going to share my own struggle, okay? How I cope with my own struggle and my conclusions according to Dharma. And when I say Dharma, I'm not referring to religion Dharma. I'm not religious. I respect all the religion. Religion is about idolization, worshipping, respecting, seeking outside. It's very good, important. We all seek, right? Seeking, right? Which is beautiful. It works. 99% of the world's population living with higher authorities, which is very good. It's good to have religion. I recommend that, because there's a sense of belongings. But the religion alone, when things happen like this, you may get into trouble. So for me, by training, I'm a philosopher, Dharma, I studied many years. Not that I'm good at it, but I listen a lot because I have to attend class. I have to sit for exam, to the extent even managed to get my, so-called lecturership from the Buddha Dharma. That soaked in the beautiful philosophy of Buddha Dharma. That helped me. So that makes me philosopher. And I'm a critical thinker. I'm a very critical person. I'm sure that few of you have realized it. Difficult for people to impress me, convince me, very stubborn, you know. I still make my mother tear sometimes. I confess. Very stubborn. I made many people tear actually. I think only people that I did not let cry was my teacher, I guess. Somehow he melts me, so it's like, to the guru. The rest, by the time I realize I'm already out of the cage. So that makes me a deep thinker, critical thinking. It's difficult for me to settle easily. I need to questions and questions and questions. So thanks to the teaching of the Buddha, that really helped. I went through 2 kidney transplant. One was very recent. Since 5, I joined monastery school. I don't remember being a nasty person, to be honest. And we cannot afford to, surrounded by all the monks, teachers, right? If I have left in the school, maybe I might have done all the crazy things. But in the monastic setting, there's not much of opportunity. So forced to be kind, forced to be novice. I always joke, I was born devil, but become little angel because of the teaching of the Buddha. The real self was a devil, right? So it was what do you call it? A struggle. I was 28 years old when I was when I went for my first treatment. A lot of emotionally I was questioning. Not only that, I had many people questioning. And the funniest thing is I had to go see a psychologist before our operations as a procedure, right? And then doctor, because I spoke a bit of English, and he was, I know you're fit to go for your surgery, transplant, but I have some personal question to ask you. Then he begins, you people supposed to help others, right? He said. I knew it's coming. I say, yes. Not only you, I get a lot of people from Myanmar, Sri Lanka, come to Singapore, especially you monks. You are supposed to bless and help others. And what's happening with you, he said. I dare not to ask this to other monks because there's a translator. We don't want to offend their disciple, he said. Here, I'm very comfortable with you. But by the way, it's okay to not answer, he said. And he said, why? Of course, that was also back of my mind. What do you all think? Right? Why? Again, I don't want to answer that. I have answered him, but I don't want to answer you. That's the whole charm of having this conversation. First job, how did Pema Sambawa help the king losing his teenage daughter? Second, how I would have answered the doctor. I convinced him, absolutely. I give him 2 answers. Right? So being kind is not enough. A lot of things could have happened. So through spiritually that oops, did I kill it? Oh, I don't think it's happening from here. The HDMI is not happy. So, mm, from here. I want this slide. Mm. Oh, that's a magic. Okay, the last, this one. Yeah, thank you. So let's talk about the strength that spiritual, and I remember I was telling you, I'm not religious, I respect all the religion. As I mentioned this during practice, it's not a puja, it's a practice actually in Vajrayana. Personally, there are things that I find very attractive in the teaching of Dharma. Yes. Second account. The first account, accumulation of merit, is a kindness. Everyone talks about it. Be religious, non-religious, being kind, good merits. Right? Merit equals goes to kindness, right? But the beautiful thing, not in the religion of Buddhism. Buddhism has a religion aspect of it. Right? If you look at the Asians burning, Chinese tradition burning joystick, and I was in China long ago, whoever can put the first candle, was it the candle or joystick, in front of the temple supposed to have a good luck. That sounds really ridiculous to me. None of the teachings of the Buddha's teaching says that, but that's the tradition. Early morning, the first day of the new year, you must put the joystick there, right? And we have a lot of this taboo practice, which it works though somehow. I don't know, you hear what I mean, right? When people die, burning all these cars, you keep the real thing with you, you burn the fake one, and the dead people are happy, right? I don't know how all these practices, for example, right? So what I have realized is, as mentioned, accumulation of wisdom in the Dharma, not in the religion of Buddhism. Let's put the Buddhism into two circles, three. Traditional, people just worship, right? Burning joystick, visiting temple occasionally. It's a very cultural, very traditional thing. And the inner circle, the middle circle, are the people who are very devoted. They donate, fear of guilt. Out of guilt, I was not a very nice person. Out of guilt, I do a lot of things. Worry that you may go to hell, right? And there's a fear, and you do that. Still, you are still in the boundary. But there's a really small inner core of the spiritual part of teaching of the Buddha that we talk about, this two accumulations. Have you heard of that before? It's a very, very important practice in Dharma. It's a parallel. So this is very interesting. Now I'm getting to my conclusions, okay? How we look at it. Only kindness will lead to accumulation of merits. There are a lot of things lacking when you are only accumulating kindness, good merits. And you don't have to be a religion followers. It's absolutely fine to not follow any beliefs, but be kind. You will have lot of good accumulations of merit. But then what happened? What happened? What happened? I'm a very kind person. I accumulate, but a lot of things happening with me. Right? The question is, because there's a residual before this. You become kind only now. That's why the question is, do you believe life after death? All the kind people who suffers now, that is not their beginning. They were beginning before that, according to the philosophy of Dharma. There were many lives before that. If you are kind, you do not believe in life, many lives before that, again you are doomed when the kindness failed. So these things has to be, all the missing part has to be connected. Right? So the one missing part is just being kind in this life. You go to work today, right? You do something today. Is it for today? You're preparing for tomorrow, isn't it? You take loan, you do whatever. You do it for your future. You do it for your tomorrow. Your being kind today is for tomorrow, right? For your, actually, it's quite further. We say next life. And we live in the credit of our yesterday. Today, if you drive a car, did you buy this morning? It was from yesterday, right? It was from your past. All the things you have now is from your past, not from now. So this is why the things are happening. You be very kind. There will be a lot of things that will still happen to us because there's a residual of our unfinished. Let's use the word karma. Karma meaning unfinished, unkind. I was an unkind person before, and somehow by fortune, this life I become kinder. But what happened to the crime that I have done in my past? Who is responsible for that? Especially if you are not a believer right now, you are not created by God, you do not believe in anything. Kindness is your religion. You know. And maybe you come from your father and the mother. How do you really know your father and the mother were really a kind person? Maybe it's kind to you, right? So there's a lot of unfinished history behind this life, behind this event. And the sad thing is we don't have the idea to use that, you know. We don't have the means to use that so-called concept because we do not have the wisdom. You know? So that is one of the case. Accumulation of wisdom. Accumulation of wisdom help us to talk about our entire life affairs in the Dharma. Let me touch on the, do we have life after death? Scientifically, many doctors has proven it. You can find a lot of article on internet. You know, highly educated medical doctor died medically. They experienced life after death. Resuscitate, right, it's called. They came back. I never believed medically. And they look at the result. Yes, I stopped breathing for past couple of minutes. But I experienced something after I died. And they started searching life after death. You know, there are group saying that there's a life after death, but they don't know. Scientifically still cannot see, proven. Only that people who totally non-believers experience it and came back. Some says white light, some sees like, you know, some kind of experience. They freaked out. And medically they were dead. So in the Dharma what we say is, there is life before. We call it beginningless. If it's a beginningless, then we had many, many, many lives. And what guarantees us that our many, many life before this was a nice person? Can you guarantee? It's okay if you don't believe in past life, then it's fine. Case closed, You get what I mean? But if you wanted to buy that idea, can you predict, explain that you were a kind of person? Even how do we know if you are a human being, right? Nothing guarantees us. For me, I buy that because I cannot explain, again, I will be very direct. I cannot accept that I'm created by someone else. This is very unfair. The creator is very artistic, but it's unfair. Unfair for ourselves, unfair for the creator as well. When the misfortune happened, we don't want to blame. And definitely it's not our parents too, because parent cannot control us. If we are created by our parents should be able to control us. We give them headache, right? That says we are not their product. We are independent. Closest belief that I like to have is that I came from my father and the mother. My sources are my parents, right? But now in my adulthood, I realize I'm not. We are totally two different entities. The rest things unseen, untouchable, someone that who created us, it's difficult for me personally. But if you believe it, it's wonderful. At least one question is answered. For me, it's difficult. So, in the Dharma, and the meaning of the Dharma is truth. The truth is there is life before, there is life after. And this example is given for yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Right? Some of us want to argue, how do you know that there was yesterday? How do you know there's a life after this? Can you see it? Right? Very simple to answer that. We all know we had yesterday. Can you see your yesterday? Can you? Can anyone see your yesterday? Really? You cannot see your yesterday. It was just a past. You even can't think. If to the very smart person, all of us here tonight, you write it down. Forget about whole day, Try to think. Right after lunch today, right, where did you go? Who was the person that you spoke to? And what word did you actually say to that person? Can you remember? Right after lunch, right? I look at that person, that smile on that person's face. This is the word I said. Do you remember? Do you remember? How do you want to talk about your past life? You can't even talk about your lunch event. We are that incapable. We are that incapable, yet we want to question our past life. We cannot. We all have tomorrow, right? Do we have tomorrow? Nothing, we don't have to worry about it. But can you predict and can you see your tomorrow? Right? But can you just ignore your tomorrow? Says, I cannot see tomorrow. Who cares about tomorrow? It's a simple logic that you cannot deny your tomorrow, right? So this is what it is in the enlightened eyes. Past, present, future. The time division, the dividing. It is. Last life was yesterday. Next life was tomorrow. And we are interconnected. That's why we say we are all interconnected, interdependent. Interdependent. So another word, being kind alone in this life, without much of wisdom, you will struggle. In order to have this connected, it takes wisdom to convince about the so-called the system of past, present, and the future. You know. So meaning, if you do believe life after death, then you need to believe actions of your life too. Do you agree? It's not only you believe in life before and after. You have to also think what you were, what you did. That's why in the Dharma says, watch, be aware of your body, speech and mind. It's beautifully said, some of the wisdom. Our body, our mind borrows our body and our speech. And let it abuses, and during the time of death, the mind will leave to the another body. You know, everything will be left behind. And only the déjà vu, only the memories, which we call karma, will be traveled with that into new body, and then habit continues, karma continues. And there are very, very bad people can be good for one day, possible, right? So this is one lifetime being kind is like, you know, maybe we were a terrible, terrible, terrible person in past life. This interval of life, somehow, some karmic connection, you become kind. Then you brag about it. I was so kind. Why? Right? So that's why there's a continuity of our life, you know. And another part when we talk, this is one of the so-called way of looking at when being kind. Only kind, not believing in anything, you will have a trouble, you know. So second part of this, accumulations of wisdom. As a Dharma practitioner, when I say practice, not worshipping, our main objective is the account of wisdom. The word called enlightenment, right? Enlightening. You will be enlightened when you have the entire full wisdom. Not through only good karma. Being kind will not make you enlightened. So this is why in the practice we stress so much on accumulations of good wisdom. So that through wisdom, and that is not making offerings or praying, these are all accumulation of good karma. You know. So accumulation of great wisdom will help us to gain freedom, and then also we will not become the victim of our being a kind. When I was younger, I get really angry when people are not appreciative, when people are unkind, when people take advantage of me. To the very recent year, I must admit, it took a long time for me to season my little wisdom. Okay, so very simple emotions that you will arise. I used to be a man that's saying unfair, angry, unfair, you know, this is unfair. Right? I had health complications because I managed monastery. I had a lot of complications with monastery work. I felt like this is unfair. There were people I don't want to look at their eyes. I tried to avoid those people because it was unfair. Eventually, when I try, it works. I have to help myself to be compassionate towards these people. Easy to be compassionate towards people who are suffering, but not towards the harm doers. You get what I mean? It was not easy to be compassionate towards the harm doers. But there's a hope, thanks to the accumulation of wisdom. Eventually, not every day, there are many days, but yet there are many days people just have my compassion. People, they just have my compassions. There was a true story by one of the great master. We all thought that was ridiculous when we heard this story. One of the monk was imprisoned unnecessarily, and he was beaten really, really badly, right? When he was released, he went to his teacher and went to see his teacher, and teacher heard about him being in prison. He said, "It must be really hard for you being in the prison, all the torture." And he says, "No, no, master. Their torture was manageable," he said. "Yet, but I almost lost once," he said. That was the most difficult part. And the master asked, "What was that?" He said, "I tried not to be angry at those guards, when they unnecessarily abused me so much for days and weeks. I almost got angry at them." I was like, how is that possible? The strength, the wisdom strength that they have. You got beaten, you got abused. That novice, that monk did not even got angry. He almost got angry, he said. "Master, I almost lose it," he said. That was very tough, he said. So teacher thought of maybe fighting back or whatever. No, I almost got angry at harmdoers. There's a wonderful, inspiring stories, I was like, wow, I have 1,000 miles to reach, where he is. So accumulation of wisdom, if those, what do you call it? And there are many accumulation of wisdoms, right? I'm not telling you to be religious. I'm not telling you to invest, huge so-called statues of the beliefs, or donate huge money, do great service. This will only accumulate good merits. And many get into trouble because of that, right? Again, to remind you that. So accumulation of wisdom is very, very important. And it takes practices, right? So as I was sharing my experience, I'm in my 40s now, huh? Takes time, So that you may encounter a lot of difficulties in your life, especially people taking advantage of you, think to the extent you feel this is very unfair. But there will be a day you will be compassionate towards all those beings. Even people take advantage of you, but at the same time, if you have the wisdom, you know where the limit is. Like what Joita was just saying, you will not become the victim too. But that all in the accumulation of wisdom. You need to accumulate. Like Joita said, maybe experience, but experience is not applicable for all the different things, right? They can be, and it's not always a scam, for example. It could be religious people coming to you. It could be your own mother coming to you. It could be your own husband and wife and children coming to you. The same experience doesn't apply. But you need to have that sharp wisdom to gauge, how much damage you can afford. I always share this with my friends as you have to look at the damage. Okay, I'm being kind here. I'm going to let you damage 10% of, my kindness. After that, I'm going to remove it. But how do you know how much is 10%, right? And when, how? The assessment is the trouble, right? So I think through accumulation of wisdom, you should be able to have the weighing machines with you to, help oneself to balance, being kind, yet not becoming victim. Being kind, not get burnt out. And it's amazing, after some time, there will be a little voice, we call the inner voice. The inner voice will just tell you that this is what it is. Sometimes you'll be crushed, like the inner little one will say, it's like, you wake up, it's okay, this is what it is. You will like, you're right. You will not ask why me, why this happened to me, why did they do this to me. So and relatively this few philosophies are very useful when people take advantage of you. Kindness, right? As mentioned, being kind is very important, but people will always take advantage of you because we are in desire world. They will take it. We take, unknowingly, we also take advantage of others. And I always remind friends, life is unfair. You cannot fix all the unfairness around you. But what we can do is we can learn to be fair. When you remember. There are times you don't remember, you will become unfair. And it takes a lot of wisdom for you to stay being fair. Right? That's why people say being humble. It takes a lot of awareness for you to stay being fair. And this is how the so-called desire world functions, with unfairness. But what can you do? For me, this is what I exercise. I try not to do this to others because it's very not nice. Right? And another thing, Buddha said in the teaching, if you are not enlightened, you will make mistakes. The human errors. The human errors everywhere. Only if you are enlightened, then it could help. Otherwise, the human error is the most complicated emotions that we will experience. And this is when you also arise sudden compassions. Remember I was telling you that sameness. We are in the same boat. Sameness. This is really a philosophy of Buddha Dharma. Some of the wisdom. Sameness. If you exercise too much of sameness, this will help this will solve a lot of problems. The respect to others, forgiving, seeking for forgiveness. Through the philosophy of sameness, we are able to achieve oneness. Right now we have trouble. People take advantage of me. People do this to me because there's no oneness, right? Do you agree? There's no oneness. We are separated. And the philosophy and the aim or the principle of Buddha Dharma is to achieve the oneness. I find that very difficult, right? But in the eyes of enlightened beings, I think oneness is there. That's why Gautama Buddha himself, if you look at it, he was a very, very kind prince. Those who have read about him, Prince Siddhartha. Remember his cousin Devdatta abused him like anything? He was like, let him win all the time. Took advantage of him, right? When he was 29, being kind was not enough. And it was again moved by kindness though. He saw sickness, he saw death, he saw aging, he felt helpless. I cannot stop death dying. I cannot stop people from aging. He was helpless. He was too kind. Then he knew just being a kind king or being a kind prince in the palace is not enough. So that's when he introduce accumulation of wisdom. In the Dharma, we call it two accumulations parallelly, very important. And you cannot be just accumulating wisdom alone, right? Then there will be a lot of complications and hindrance. It has to be, so this is the, how, from the aspect of Dharma, how we look at it. And for me, it works, because it's a sharing asset, right? Conversations. So now, as a Dharma follower, how I look at it is, when you are too kind, there's always a danger. There's always a danger, I personally have my friends and disciples too, who are very little in the accumulation of wisdom, but accumulation of merit is very, very high, their account. They get disappointed very easily, to the extent even when I don't give enough time, they get upset too, because it's all profit orientated. There's no compassion. And there's a lot of hopes and expectation unintentionally, and the lack of wisdom, too much of accumulation of merit. So for me, I get worried when, even being in the setting of Dharma, when there's so much of accumulation of merit, but very weak in the accumulation of wisdom, because this individual will get in trouble. Simple word, let's use a simple word, get burnt out. Yes, please.
Just one quick question, anyway, sir. If you are being kind, but you expect nothing in return, would you call it a wisdom?
Well, most in the surface, this is how, most genuine people will do that, but there's an underlying. If that's what I'm saying, right? In return, you don't expect anything, but if something bad happens, you will lose it. You will lose it, right? So then you don't have nothing to hold on. But like you said, there are many who would do without much of expectations, right? But the hope and expectation I'm referring to, they are too extreme. Some really expect something in return, be it blessing, be it appreciations, whatever, right? Some at least nothing, but that nothing is also expectations, and in return something bad happens. Then you will be questioning, what happened to the things we did? Why this is happening? Right? Expecting nothing is again also a trouble, right? So that's why have to have certain so-called wisdom, certain as I was saying, that it's like, I borrow your word, very complex when it comes to that. There are many hierarchies, level of experience, right? Like what we were just saying, we could do a lot of things unconditionally, like till someone not step on your toe. When someone really step on your toe, you will definitely ouch, right? And that time you started questioning, and then that's when we call it regret. Regret comes. So in the beautiful way of being kind in the Dharma, there are three. Do not regret after being kind, in the practice of generosity. Second, do not boast about it. Do not talk about it, because it reminds you. Another thing, either become pride, or think of that, I did this to this person, now this is what they do, chances of losing it, boasting about it, right? Third, Buddha said right away, wrap it up. We call dedications. Wrap it up, you seal it, you close the chapter, so then it's safe. So that's why dedication is very important in Dharma. So being kind is like Be kind. Don't regret after being kind. So one thing that also that in the Dharma, one thing helping us, part of the wisdom is that part of teaching is with us. We don't want to revisit that. We don't want to revisit what we did. We try to forget the things, and there was this funny story about senior monk and the junior monk, right? Similar to that, there was, I think many of you have heard of that. As an ordained monk, you are not supposed to touch women, right? So there was senior monk and the little novice monk crossing river, and there was a lady who was also crossing river, and she was not able to, cross the river because river was quite strong. So the senior monk carried her to the other side of the river, right? And the little monk was disturbed. My master, carry woman. So after a few kilometers, then the young monk asked, Master, why did you carry woman? He said, where? Which one? He says like, oh, just now that, He says, oh, I left her there. You are still carrying it, he said. He says, it was not me who is carrying her. It was you. I left her there. You still carry her, he said. So that's the philosophy, the wisdom. If you talk about the wisdom, these are the wisdom. We just close the chapter, let it go. But we cannot let it go. We cannot let it go, right? Because we don't have the practice again. Accumulation of wisdom is not there, so we need some sense of, so-called belongings, right? Yes, please. No, sit down, it's okay. Please.
Rimpoche, I have a question. Do we accumulate wisdom from life to life to life until now?
We could. If you are a slow practitioner.
But as you say that we easily forget. So do we gain the wisdom from our past life until
It continues.
this life?
Yes, it continues.
Oh.
As I mentioned, wisdom,
Thank you.
karma, everything will continue with our memories back, with our consciousness, Very good. Yes.
Indonesia.
Come sit down, it's okay.
Ya.
Yes.
Yang saya mau tanyakan, yang mau saya tanyakan itu, berarti kan kita berbuat baik, maksudnya baik saja kan nggak cukup. Berarti kan harus ada kebijaksanaan. Berarti yang kita kan, maksudnya senjatanya itu welas asih, bukan? Kebijaksanaan kita praktekkan welas asih. Terus bagaimana kan praktek welas itu kan butuh banyak hari kan dipraktek, diulang-ulang. Nah, bagaimana kita mempraktekkan welas asih sedangkan kita masih ada rasa kepemilikan, terus ada rasa ini saudara saya, ini papa saya, ini saya. Terus bagaimana kita mempraktekkan welas asih yang memiliki filosofi kesamaan, kemurahan hati, seperti itu.
So the lady asked, being kind is not enough. We need wisdom.
We
The
need
first question-
accumulations of wisdom, not only wisdom. One wisdom will be like used, right? We have to have built that wisdom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then the next question, the question is the wisdom same with compassion?
Our compassion can be arise from wisdom. Yes. Sorry, what was that? Okay.
Welas asih itu adalah perisai kita.
Is the compassion is the weapon to accumulate wisdom?
Wisdom is the weapon to have compassion. With other way around. Right? Make sense?
Masih melekat dong, masih oleh dunia saya nih, bagaimana berarti welas asih yang bersamaan.
So, because we still have this attachment and, the sense of belonging of our family members, friends, this is my father, this is my mother, how can't we practice the compassions in the sameness and in oneness?
Oh, it's a practice. It's a practice, Practice, everything takes practice, right? Habitual. Have to make it habit. It's very funny. And the teaching of Way of Bodhisattva's life, Great Master Santideva teach about generosity, right? Remember, from left hand, very stingy, you don't want to give to anybody. Says, learn how to give from right hand to the left hand. As a stingy person, even from right hand giving to the left hand is so painful, And then you try to put on the floor. Eventually, that you will learn how to give. So it's a practice. If you look at right now at the beginning, this is very far. I cannot. But you must begin somewhere. So of course, if it's like, then we don't have to be here today. We are not in the samsara. I mentioned during the teaching today, during the daytime. If there's a magic, if there's one kindness can help everyone, we don't have to be here today, right? First was there are many so-called powerful Hindu god. After that was Buddha and Bodhisattvas. After that was Jesus Christ. After that was Muhammad. We all finished, empty. What are we doing? We are still here. So that says that we have to work hard. We are on our own, right? Yes, please.
Kenapa Milarepa itu tidak pernah puja, tidak pernah menolong orang beri uang, tapi hanya meditasi fokus pencerahan. Sedangkan banyak orang yang retret meditasi itu sampai 10 hari atau berapa tahun gitu nggak pecah pencerahan dia mereka.
I know. What is it?
Hanya meditasi saja seluruh hidupnya itu bisa merasa pencerahan, tidak pernah puja, tidak pernah doa, tidak pernah memberikan uang ke orang lain, tidak pernah bakti sosial, tapi kok bisa pencerahan ya?
Juwita asked Milarepa, right?
Yeah.
Milarepa never done any accumulation of merits by giving, donations, right? And but how is he enlightened? How was he enlightened? Because
I think easily someone can answer that. Anyone? Anyone wants to answer? Do you want to answer that? He
So Rimpoche asked that you can see that from the life of Milarepa, all he's doing is more like doing meditation in the retreat caves, but he can achieve enlightenment without doing more like generosity or more like doing pujas or give money or something else like that. But on the other hand, some of other people who are doing things like what Milarepa did never achieved the same thing like he achieved.
Are you sure they did what Milarepa did? They did? Milarepa built how many stories of temple by one-handed? There's no single master who did not accumulate merit parallelly. Gautama Buddha let go his beautiful wife, children, power, palace, sit under the tree for 6 years. You cannot even sit 1 hour like stretch. Remember? He sits 6 years, let go of everything. It's a parallel. There's no history, someone just sit, boom. That's why actually we don't encourage people just sit, meditate. It has to be accumulation of merits and accumulation of practice together. It will complement, it's like a wing flying, otherwise you're only one wing, you are handicapped. It has to have both the wings. So now I'm bringing to our conclusions. I'll take one last question. Say, what is it? Sorry. Yes, I'll get back to you. Was it?
Yes, Poche. Okay, so we're talking about kindness and accumulation of wisdom. I am not a Dharma practitioner, so I want to ask, maybe this sounds stupid, but is that the only way to become a Dharma practitioner to gain wisdom? Or is there any other way?
I mean, accumulation of wisdom is from Dharma. You get what I mean? If it's a product of wisdom, none of other facts talks about it. And I was just, thank you for the heads up, because I'm going to conclude with the reminder. Accumulation of wisdom also refers to purifications. In the Dharma, we have to finish all the unfinished things. Now, to complement this, I will share one story, continue, okay? So when the teenager's prince died, he was very upset. But he also believed Guru Rinpoche has the omniscient mind, right? Before that, they already reconnect their the deja vu, saying there was brothers, king, and then the teacher and another teacher. The three of them were brothers born in Nepal, to build the Bodhanath temple, So Buddha said, Guru Rinpoche told king, you believe that we build that pagoda? He says, yes. You believe this is the karmic connection we are here? He says, yes. My dear brother, he said, while you are looking after the constructions of the pagoda, unintentionally you kill one of the insect. It was hot, so he was like bare, shirtless. So there was the insects biting, right? He could not see, so he was just like, ouch, it happens to us. For us, it happens like that, right? We just intentionally kill. For him, accidentally, and he did not know. It was even not knowing, but it was a good karmic connection, even though we do things without not knowing. So in his account anyway, not to complicate, in king's account, there are many different karmas that he accumulated, such as killing even the little insects that even he did not realize, right? So Pema Sambhava said, his teacher said, through every time, that's why I remember during the practice, few of you, I said, things that I have done intentionally and unintentionally. All the karma I have done intentionally and unintentionally, I admit and I purify this. This is very important in Dharma. And purification is only in the Dharma way. So we purify, we do prostrations, we try to practice by contemplating the things that we did and things that we don't remember, and try to exhaust all this so-called empty our karma, negative karmas, right? So Guru Rinpoche said, you forgot, and that is the residual of karma. But since it was unintentional that we are born in such a beautiful setting, you as a Dharma king, I am available. Says, don't complain, Buddha said. His teacher said, it's so lucky she came back to take the karma from you in such a nice setting. And it's your biological daughter. Says, let's make aspiration. What I could do is I can make through all the karma you have accumulated, building temples, serving entire Himalaya and turning into Dharma path. I will dedicate this merit for her to be born as a human being in the future, next life, practice Dharma, And it's immediate after the reincarnation was Pema Lingpa and Longshenpa, those who knows about. That was a reincarnation of that girl. He says, it's such a fortunate life. This is the best we could do. You have to pay back your karma. But imagine if it's born as our children, born with special care, right? no dharma, no dedications, for example, right? So what happened is, another word, as a gentleman was saying here, it is definitely, if you believe in karma, basically we are talking about your past life, it is a past life residual that will translate or manifest into unfortunate event. Suddenly kind man can go and run into accident. Suddenly someone just come and stab you. Someone can steal things from you. Suddenly, a lot of things could happen. So this is why only in Dharma we teach how to do purifications. Purifications of every practice, especially in the Vajrayana we call Nyandro, 500,000 of practice. Even prostration alone, the exercise, right? 100,000. And we contemplate on all the negative karma we have accumulated through our body. And there are recitations of mantra, of 100 syllable mantra. All the karma we accumulated through speech. And it's not by only, no. It doesn't work. You have to engage your mind. Every now and then you have to remember and say all the things that I have done from the beginning less till now. Constantly reminding yourself. When you prostrate, if you exercise, I am purifying my karma. I exercise, I burn so much, right? It will not purify your karma. You have to have that humbleness into spirituality, spiritual, and then thinking of all the other sentient beings, right? And then these are only a given beginning, right? And there are other practices. And then, as I was saying, I'm in 40s. It took me 40 years to reach to autopilot. Many years I had to set to manual. That's like, hey, I'm losing it. As the master, as the disciple reported to his teacher, I almost lose it. And I, both the hands up, I lost it many times. I lose it many times. We will lose it. Meaning, by nature of our religion, all the religions teaches us to be kind, right? Especially in Dharma. We pretend to be kind, we hypocrite to be kind, Many times we get slapped, and sometimes most of the time we slap back. Only later we realize, oops, I'm not supposed to slap back. And we have to be always on manual, Eventually, through accumulation of merits, it can be on the autopilot. Yet you have to have a good pilot though, with the autopilot, right? In case of goes to manual, like one of my class teacher, right? As I mentioned, he is a very revered master. I can imagine, I can imagine, amputated as a learned, venerable master. The ego, right? How people even look at him, and a lot of questionings. Was it worth me being so novice, being very, 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 very learned, probably decades of practice?
There are two questions from the live YouTube. One of the questions is, in accordance to current Dharma, if we are being kind to ungrateful people for whatever form of kindness or sacrifice we do for them, any advice from Rimpoche, what should we do if they are family member?
That's why, yeah. So, another very practical answer to this. If your kindness is letting someone into trouble, you have to stop it. Sometimes it's the love that you care, you let them take advantage of you, right? And then, for example, right? You are very kind, and your son or your daughter says, I want to go kill someone else. Will you? You will not, right? Because you're concerned about the crime that your children is going to do. Do you understand what I'm trying to say, right? you will definitely not kind enough to say, yes, go kill it. Actually, you wish, these people were very nasty to my children. Actually, I don't mind. But there's a concern and the fear of admitting crime, so you will stop. Even though intentionally that you have such kind of thoughts, right? So similarly, if your kindness is translating into greater harm, you have to stop it. Then that could be like, making that person accumulating negative karma. And as I was saying, that there are many things that definitely we needed wisdom, and again go back to the same percentage, the 10%. But even the 10% of huge. Normally I don't know if you remember a few of my students, I always remind them we can afford to take 5 to 10% damage. I say even negative karma, all the things are not necessarily good karma, right? Some things are negative karma too. For example, today when I did Sojong vow, there are few of you, of our participant already broke the Sojong vow. If I completely says no Sojong vow because people are not going to follow, what happened to the rest of this 80% or 90% that's going to take refuge, right? Sojong, like fasting. So the damage has to cover. See how much, I think business people will do it very well. Look at the balance sheet, all right? LNP, this is what's happening. I cannot take the risk, right? So we have to look at it.
Thank you, Rinpoche. The second question is, from today's afternoon Dharma by Rinpoche, in life we may face uncertainties or struggle, whether in career or finance or health. When people is in this hard period of life, it's hard to always be positive.
Indeed.
What could we do to ensure we are walking on a right path when we haven't seen the sun or light and the road is dark? Please advise and enlighten Rinpoche.
Very good questions. Thank you. If you are Dharma practitioner, most of the followers make this mistake. Always, again, profit orientated, good karma. Just looking for good karma. Things you do must dedicate for purifications. I have been telling this to many of my friends, says focus more on purifications and consider the things you have done in the past is a debt that you owe, huge loan that you owe. Most of us, what we do is we make profit of good karma and we invest it somewhere, right? I want to gain this, I want that, for this purpose, I'm dedicate this for my son, for my daughter, for my career, for my health, this. We buy good karma, right? We trade in. What happened to the loan? Does it make sense? What happened to the loans? You have a huge loan to pay. So be smart. All the merits you dedicate, pay back your loan, right? And you are at peace, and then those things will not happen. Uncertainty will reduce, really. What did Pema Sambhawa told the king? You owe in life to an insect. It comes back. This is what it is. There are many Dharma stories. The little karma comes back and hit you so bad. That unfinished karma that you did not pay back, that you did not exhaust, So it's very important. I will encourage those who are on the path, instead of hoping more to receive, good to receive, and don't invest it for something else, pay back. Remember that as I was showing, there's two accounts. At the same time, there's an account that you owe someone else. Add another account, right? And actually, if you accumulate wisdom, easier because you don't have to, pay back the wisdom because you never had it, right? So just pay back the merits and empty your so-called debt of your karmic debt, we call it, right? is the word English word, karmic debt. You pay back your karmic debt. And it's a fact if you look at it. And then we give example on someone like, for example, say, very good friend used to be, suddenly I offended you. We did not meet for 10 years. You still hold that garage. Oh, Rimpoche was not nice to me. I remember that. After 10 years, some condition become friend again. I never said sorry to you, you know. But you will hold this in your mind. Arrogant. He still didn't say sorry to me. I still owe that to undo the things, right? So that's why undoing karma is very important. All right, so let's summarize this. There will be a lot of questions, a lot of complications if you only bet on kindness. Okay, especially if you are on the path of Dharma, I encourage not only being accumulation of good karma is not enough. Adopt some practice, not religious practice, burning joystick, you know, accumulating a lot of malas, visiting every temples, no. But some personal exercise, including some proper guided meditations, some practice is very important because that helps to clean your mind, helps to have a positive thinking. Second part, whatever you do, always try to purify your karma. For example, you know, it's a very common, you serve monk, right? When you serve monk, only don't dedicate, we say, dedicate the merit. I'm getting it, right? I'm receiving the merits. Instead of that, request the monks, can you please pay for my karmic debt? Pray for. And you just, may all the things I have done intentionally and unintentionally, from beginning less, meaning we don't know when. I don't want to say only this life. It may comes, you know, follows me. So I wanted to say from the beginning less to all the sentient beings. I don't know to whom I have done it. It's a beautiful thing. Means you include everyone. I confess. I seek for forgiveness. May through the merits of this activity purifies all our negative karma from the beginning less. That will be very helpful. That's why in the Neytrul, have you heard of Neytrul? Neytrul practice, 100,000 of prostrations and Bodhisattva is a cleansing. 100,000 of mandala is for future. Mandala offering, you know, accumulations. Is well planned program. That's why we say Vajrayana practice is also advanced. It's well taught. First 2 sessions of prostrations, Bodhisattva recitations is cleansing, and then accumulation of mandala offering is accumulating more merits for the benefit of your practice in the future. Right? So, being kind is not enough. You need to have wisdom, and with this, you need to purify all your negative karma. And there are few things, if those who are not on the Dharma path, if you could exercise that, oh, the life is very unfair, because one of the wise men called Gautama said, we are profit orientated. Everyone is looking for gain. Nobody want to lose. C'est la vie. This is a life. It's all right. I'm happy. And I always tell that to my friends, and I also meditate on that. When people take from me, I said like, I'm happy because I'm born to be able to provide, be it emotional, be it whatever. Can you imagine if you are the one that is abusing? I actually really literally make these aspirations. May I never become that person. You know, that guilt. Is there any of you in the room with the guilt? It's a very ugly energy. Little guilt that we have, right? It really hunts you down. We don't want to live with the guilt. Some people don't even have guilt, but for us to just think that we are happy. It's not me that is taking advantage of. It's not me that I'm taking advantage of someone's kindness. You know, at least like, I'm the victim, how happy, you know. Can you? To the extent sometimes you can. It's all right. I'm lucky I'm not the one that is abusing it. Oh, life is profit oriented. Sameness, everyone is like that. There's no hope. It's all right, you know. But you don't get burnt out. You know the danger. You know the tendency. It's all right. And another thing we say, impermanent. You know, impermanent. Things are constantly changing. People are not enlightened. So, you know, this could be something that, you know, I have to learn, I guess. So for the Dharma follower, definitely is a karmic debt that we are paying, you know. So if you do not enjoy that, do more purifications, cleansing. And then if you are not able to manage it, do more of practice. So we have the accumulation of wisdom to control it. And it really works. It had, you know, as I told you that, remember the story that I share about the disciple. So I share a bit of my experience, right? It's very difficult when you are kind. People will take advantage of you. And there are many ways to look at it. Exhaustions of karma, we call it. Exhaustions of karma, you know. Practicing patience. Sometimes we say is a manifestations of our guru. Because we are naughty students, you know. Says our guru is manifesting into the form of those mischievous people to test us. You know, but that's for the serious, staunch practitioner, I guess, you know. Otherwise, it's difficult to think in such way, right? Yeah. So it's just a light sharing, and those Dhamma followers just don't stress too much on accumulation of merits. Focus more on accumulation of wisdom and practice, right? And do not forget to do purifications. It's very important. All right. Thank you all. Let's dedicate these merits. May this merit be beneficial. May all our residual karma be purified. May we never experience difficult conditions or circumstances. May we all have, you know, plenty of wisdom so that we don't become the victim of others and help others too. Yes, please.
I think the very last question, maybe.
Yes, please.
Just now you kind of mentioned that even as a layman of you are anyway, so that you know, it takes all these years since you are 5 years old until what you are today, you know, to get the so-called autopilot anyway. Right? So what is it with, say, myself anyway, say, I'm by father, or I'm not even a Dhamma so practitioner. I have to confess on that you say. How do I get out of these bloody troubles anyway?
There's a hope. There's a hope. But it has been saying that you will give time for yourself, right? We all have to plan that. To be honest, we have to plan it somewhere. And in Vajrayana, it take too long though. You know, in Vajrayana setting, it doesn't take too long. Once someone is seriously into the progress of purifications and accumulations, we call it purification and accumulations. All the practice in Vajrayana we call purifications and accumulations. Once you get into the mood of purification, accumulation is quite fast. You just need to have the time out. Maybe 6 months is enough. So have more fun right now.
Jeling was saying 6 months just go to Bhutan, have a retreat, and
Yes.
just stay there.
I can guarantee you that. Yeah, all good. Yeah. So thank you. Pleasure. Thank you.